Scottish preacher. So, man, I watched the video for this trucker, EB. This man ran 2 weeks straight. Made over $13,000, or about $13,000. And he was in the negative over $3,000. How is that possible? I've been telling people from the longest, especially some of my friends that's trying to get inside this trucking business, want to get their own truck. Whether you leasing on to a company, getting your own authority. Listen, sometimes it's a you problem. It's not a trucking problem. It's a you problem. And because of how you are, trucking is not fitting what you are trying to do. And you want to blame it on trucking because every time somebody always like to point the finger at other things and other people but themselves. I said this before, I say this again. Every time you point your finger at somebody like this, well, you got 3 more pointing right back at you. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and see if there's a problem there first before you look past the mirror to somebody else. If your expenses is too high, your operating cost is too high, just high out of this here world, you're not going to make no money. I say this all the time. Just because you know how to drive a truck and do the docks, it don't make you a business person. It doesn't mean that you know how to run a trucking business. A business, period. Let's just say business, period. Because if you know how to run a business and you did bookkeeping and you did budgets and performance in another business, it's the same thing in trucking. The verbiage is different, but how you get the numbers is still the same thing. It's just called something else, depending on what field or what business that you're in. But the numbers do not lie. The numbers don't change. If you got a high overhead, that means you need a lot of money you need to be bringing in for you to be able to make some money. So the question is, why are you starting a business knowing you got a high overhead? Why? And then when you're not bringing in high revenue to cover your high overhead, you mad and now you trying to blame the people, the business. When it's you, why did you start off with such a high overhead for? Why? The purpose of knowing what your cents per mile is going to be in order for you to operate is so that way you can know what your overhead cost is and how much money you need to bring in to cover the overhead costs and then have money left over. If you add up all your costs, and the other thing is people don't even know how to come up with an accurate cents per mile. They don't put everything into the equation. So if you start off wrong, it's going to end wrong for you. It's never going to work out because you never started out correctly. You didn't know how to do your cents per mile. You thought you knew how to do a cents per mile. You thought you knew how to do an operating cost. And how can you have just a fixed rate for cents per mile? How? If you got a fixed rate for cents per mile, this is your fixed rate, your numbers are off. Your numbers are off. You need a fixed rate, and then you need an adjustment rate. And you add those two together to get your cents per mile. You don't know how much it's going to be. Because number one, you don't know how many miles you're going to do that week. Right? You don't know how many miles you're going to do that week. You hope to do this many miles. That's why you do a budget. And that's why you do a declining budget, just in case you're not reaching the miles that you projected you was going to be at this particular rate you thought you was going to be getting. That's why you need a declining budget. And to be tracking this declining budget throughout the course of the week. And then, are you going to fuel? Where you going to fuel it? Fuel cost goes up and they go down. You could be in the area where it's a little bit more than it is in another area. That's why you have an adjustable cents per mile. So if you started off your business wrong and you don't know the right numbers, yeah, you're not going to make no money out here in trucking. That kills me when people always say that. And then you want to blame it on trucking. You want to blame it on the rates. You got to be business minded. If you just want to run in this one particular area, now you're going to blame it on trucking because you don't want to go outside of this area. This is your area that you want to run. You trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip. And then you want to blame trucking because you want to stick in this one particular area, and this one particular area is not paying you what you need to be paid for your loads. That's not having a business mind at all. Are you running a business or do you just got a charity? Because a business makes money. Don't blame stuff on trucking. It's not a trucking problem. It's a you problem. You start off with a high overhead. You just can't go get things, get trucks, get all this stuff, and figure that the money gonna come. You just got to get it. No. That's not operating and having a business mind. It's just not. You got a high overhead. Because somebody can do $6,000 in a week, and then they can come home with $3,200, $3,400 every single week, just doing $6,000 a week. Because how they run, where they run, how they fuel, and their overhead expenses. You can get $6,000 a week, and you only bring home $300 to $400. Now you want to blame it on the market because you can't get more than $6,000 a week, $6,100 a week. Now you ready to blame it on trucking. The market is dead. The spot market is down. They're not paying for no loads. You want to throw all this up there, but you got a high operating cost. That's why when you saying that, okay, it's no loads out here in trucking, there are loads. It's just no loads going where you want to go, picking up where you at, doing what you want to do. It's no loads for that. That'd be the problem. I keep saying nobody want to do any market analysis when they getting out here inside the truck. You doing a business plan, and your business plan don't include everything that a real business plan needs in order to operate so your business can be successful. A lot of people don't even know what a market analysis is.
Be in either of the two.
They don't.
Lanes.
You don't want to get your business, and then you don't want to go out and get these fuel cards that are available so you can get fuel discounts to save you on the cost of fuel that you have. So you just paying the pump prices on fuel because you don't want to do what's necessary.
Miles. Keep right to I-40 East.
And that's what trips me out. But you want to blame trucking because you wasn't prepared and you wasn't ready. If you don't know how to get ready, find somebody to help you to get you ready. You know you never ran a business before in your life, but just because you know how to truck, you ready to get your own truck and get out here and start making money. You want to make money. You want to make money. Now you ready to start doing that now. Yeah, okay. But you never ran a business before. You don't know what it even takes to run a business. Half of everybody don't even get a CPA for their business. You're not taking advantage of all the write-offs that you can get. It's like 146 write-offs you can get for a trucking business. And what you taking, 3 or 4? That's what I mean. You want to get out here unprepared, jump out here into the trucking world, and you unprepared for the business of it. The business side of it. You just know, hey, I can do this, I can get this, do this, I can get slow, and as long as they give me some good loads. You know what? I need to be over $2 a mile. What if you ain't getting much? This guy, he was average $2.06 for every mile ran. $2.66. $2.06 he averaged for every mile ran. And he still was in a negative over $3,000. How? like I say, sometimes it's a you problem. It's not a trucking problem, it's a you problem. You wasn't ready. You didn't do the research. You taking your truck, or you picked the wrong truck. You didn't get the right people to come look at the truck before you bought the truck. Now the truck got all of these problems and you mad because the truck keep breaking down. You didn't learn nothing about a truck. So you taking your truck to the dealership for one thing, and then they automatically they'll tell you, hey, well, you need this, now you need this. And now you just like, well, okay, because you don't know nothing about it. You green. You didn't do no research. They diagnose something, and then you tell them what's going on, and then they say, yeah, hey, so it looks like it's this. Oh, that's what it is? Well, print it out so I can take a look at it and give me an estimate on how much it's going to be. They give you an estimate, they print out exactly what you do. Research it. Call up another place. Ask them how much will it be to do this? How long will it take? How do you know if it's this that's starting to go out inside your truck or it's causing a problem with your truck? How do you know that it's this? Or do you just take their word for it and then you just run with it? And now everybody's trying to tell you, man, you went to the dealership and they charge you this. That's why you shouldn't go to no dealership. That's why you shouldn't go here. No, they do that every place where they find out that you green and you don't know nothing about nothing because you're not trying to learn nothing about anything. I Google it right in front of their face. Okay, to get the printout, okay, let me Google this and learn about this so I can know what's going on. Because Google saying that, hey, when this started to go out, your truck started acting like this. My truck wasn't acting like this. It was acting like I told you it was acting. So how do you know for sure it's this? Because it says these are the signs for this. You don't question nothing. No, you don't question nothing. You just like, well, okay. Now this, no, every time my truck had broke down and I had to bring somebody on a mobile mechanic or anything like that, and it was something I wasn't sure, no, I called somebody who knew about trucks. Luckily, my dad know everything about trucks. I'm one of the lucky ones now. Everybody don't have a dad. There was a master diesel mechanic that had a trucking company, that had trucks, took care of trucks, did everything on the trucks. I can call my dad and I can ask. I can call Mr. Leon, another diesel mechanic, that I know I can do that. I can call Jeff. That's my regular mechanic that works on my trucks and everything like that. I got another mobile mechanic named Michael that I can call and ask Michael about certain stuff that I didn't use in areas. I developed these contacts before I got out here on the road. Why? Because I knew I'm going to need somebody with some type of guidance. That's what you do when you have a business. You got to look at every area of your business and be prepared for everything with your business. So if it happens, you are aware of this when it happens. He had one repair that was $149 and it wound up costing $500 something. Okay, that's still not enough for you to be in the negative $3,000 when you done cleared 13. It's a you problem. You can't blame this on trucking. How? How can you blame it on trucking? If you don't know your numbers to know that, okay, this is how much money I need per month to pay all my business bills. Only thing you should not have included in that, the only thing you should have not included in that is your fuel. You know that all this and stuff. This is how much I need to pay myself as an employee of my business. Okay? So my business, as an employee of my business, is paying me $1,800 a month. That's included in all my cents per mile, my fixed costs, because I'm salaried. So it's a fixed cost because I am salaried. That's what I mean. If you're not doing everything right from the start, how do you know? How do you know getting out here? You can Google how much is the average drive-in is making per week, or a reefer unit, or step deck, flatbed. You can Google these things to get a general idea how much it's making. Just to get a general idea of what it's making, right? So you know. For instance, I know every year that since I left Warner, I've been averaging between $275,000 a year to $282,000 a year. So if I plan on $270,000 to make, I always will hit that mark. If I go over, okay. But I know for the last 4 years, I didn't average 275 to 282 for one truck that I've been running. So I'm not understanding what's the problem. If that's how much you planning on doing, divide that by 12. That lets you know how much you should be making per month. Divide that by 4 for 4 weeks in that month. It tells you how much you can be projected to be making each week. Now let me do all my overhead costs. Okay, I've been out here. I already know how much I've been spending in fuel with these trucks because I've been driving trucks. I know I've been spending at least $1,800 in fuel using the other company's discounts or whatever. You know, you around that particular point in time, around $1,800. So let me just, without discounts and everything, let me just be like, okay, well, hey, shoot, let me go up to $2,000. Let me just round up. It's like, are y'all doing numbers? Or are y'all just getting out here and then when you're failing or when you're not making money, now you want to blame the trucking industry? You have something to do with it too. It's not just the trucking industry. Everybody is not out here suffering. You got plenty of people out here making money. Plenty of people out here making money. You got plenty of people who's going over their numbers, how much they got the load for, how many miles, how much they fuel, how much they ended with, and they always say that's enough money for me. It may not be enough money for you. My $1,800 may not be enough money for you. You may need more than $1,800 because of your cost of living, but that's your cost of living. Everybody's cost of living is not the same. I live very, very comfortably with $1,800 a month. Very. I'm good. That's all I need. I'm good. If I want more money for anything, right? At 6 months, I can see all the money I just saved up for my business. If I feel like, hey, you know, I want a couple $1,000s out of my business because I want to do something, I'll take a couple $1,000s off for my business and I'm going to put it for my taxes, ownership, business ownership contribution. Bam. That part of my taxes is taken up for my business. Me as the owner of my business, I took a chunk of it for half of the year. It could be 4, could be 5, it could be $6,000. So that's my ownership contribution. My business paid me as an owner now. But I'm making an educated decision, right? I'm not going to put all the resources out of my business. But for instance, I'm not doing that because I want to buy some trailers. And I would still want to get 2 more trucks and a box truck. So I'm not going to be doing that, but I'm just saying that's how you run a business. You still got to run your trucking company as a business, not as a paycheck. You're running it as a business. You got to make business decisions. You got to make sacrifices. You can't have paid parking every single day. No, plan on something. You get paid parking. That's $18 to $20, depending on where you're parking it every single night. But you just got to do it to secure your place. You trying to make things as easy as you on the road. But by the end of the week, you done spent $160, $140 for the week just on some paid parking because you don't want to do any extra work. Right? You don't want to bring no groceries. You'll eat out. You too good for, you know, a hot dog or a salad from the thing or one of those tuna fish salads from the truck stop or something. You too good for that. You got to go eat that at the restaurants and everything like that. You got to stop and eat and make that $25, $35 dinner and everything like that. No, part of making a business is getting your business started. You got to make sacrifices for your business. You have to make sacrifices. That's just how it is. No vacation this year. Okay? We're not going on vacation this year because I started my business in May. So we're not going on vacations this year. I got things I got to do. I got one of my sons moved up to Maine, go to college and work all up there. And then now I got to get his vehicle. I got to take his vehicle up there So my week that I take off of Christmas was actually after Christmas. That week where I got to tow the car up there to Maine for my son so he can have a vehicle up there. And I got to do that all up inside the snow and everything. So there's no vacations for me this year. That's a sacrifice that I'm making, but I'm trying to make sure that my son and everything is squared away while he's off there in school and stuff. He's becoming a nurse. So, you know, so that's what I mean. Sometimes it's a you problem, not a trucking problem. People in business ain't complaining. I was a chef for 19 years, ran restaurants. So I wasn't complaining because people wasn't coming on my slow nights. We just planned. We know Mondays and Tuesdays was going to be the slowest nights of the week. So we just planned for that. We automatically knew that. So we just making a plan for that. In business, you have to plan for all these things. It's just not going to come to you. So yeah, you have to plan on these things happening. You got to plan on the weeks. I went home from the last week of June throughout the whole month of July and the first week of August. I went home. I only was making, like I said, about 55, 56, 54. 1 week was 53. 1 week was 52. You know, but I had averaged, when I averaged everything out, it was just a little bit over 5,500 for the week. And I still was able to pay myself $1,800. Pay all the business bills, put money inside my maintenance, and my business still made money off of just averaging 5,500 a week. That's with all the repairs. I showed y'all the repairs. I still had to pay for the repairs and everything like that. I just replaced a tire. Just bought a brand new trailer tire today. That was $450 and some change. It happens. I'm mad. I looked at the tire. The tire looked like it was no good. And yes, it had tread and everything, but I'm seeing how the tread is breaking, and I'm looking at the seal around, and the seal is starting to come up on the outside of the tire. That's a DOT violation. I got a new trucking company. I'm not trying to have any DOT violations for anything. Not one thing. So yeah, I'm gonna spend the money to make sure everything is cool and copacetic with my truck. I had the level 1 like a little bit over a month ago. I had the level 1 inspection. It went through everything on my truck, which I passed. I'm cool, but I'm not trying to do that because I don't want me hooking up with these brokers and then now they see my DOT inspections and I have any out of service violations or any violations, anything. I want a clean record so I can hook up with these brokers. But that makes a sacrifice in not waiting on things to happen. Be proactive and go ahead and switch it. You've been out here, you've been checking your truck, you see something wrong with it, get it fixed. Just that simple. Get it fixed. I was checking out my engine. I just saw a little some little exhaust blackage. So it looked like I got a small leak somewhere. So guess what I'm gonna do? Right. I'm gonna let my mechanic look at it and find out what's going on. Maybe my one of my seals and stuff is loose and it needs to be tightened up or something like that, or I need to replace the seal or something like that. I don't know, but I'm gonna get it looked at. I'm gonna make sure everything is okay. That's what you're doing the pre-trip for. I don't want them to do that and now they look at my engine and now they see that, hey, I got an exhaust leak somewhere. You know, no. Just go ahead and pay the money and go ahead and get it done. It is what it is. Type thing. If I gotta take a couple days off because my mechanic can't get to it or something like that, he tell me, hey, he can get to it on this particular day, that's fine. But when I get back, I'm gonna have them look at it so at least they can tell me what's up with it. It may not be nothing. It may just be the condensation that didn't hit, and because I went on all these dirt roads 2 times in a row for the shipper and the receiver, I had to go down a dirt road, and it could be just the water that was coming down for the drain line that was hitting the part because it's right up by the firewall and the hose with the air conditioner, the water that drips down from it, it could just been hitting the side of the engine, and the dirt could just have been skied it up because I was on the dirt road and all the dirt coming all over the place. But you know what? I'm gonna get it checked out just for a confirmation. What I'm trying to say is sometimes it's a you problem. It's not a trucking problem. Sometimes it's a you problem. Do a little bit more research before you decide to step out here. Know what you're getting into. He getting over $2 a mile, all miles driven. $2 a mile with all miles driven. And he still end up negative over $3,000. How is that possible? Don't blame that on trucking. If you did 13,000 in 2 weeks, that means you didn't average 6,500 a week. You didn't average. How much more do you need to average in a week? Those days at $8,000, $9,000 a week, those days are gone. Can you hit it? Yeah. Yeah, you can hit it sometimes. Can you hit it consistently? No. It's not consistent. But you can hit it, right? Those weeks that you hit it, you be like, okay, cool, now I can put some money up. That's why I pay myself a salary. And all the rest of my money goes to my business after I take out money for maintenance and stuff. The weeks that I hit real good, I'm like, cool. My business is getting extra money. It's getting extra money. You run your business like a business, that's fine. Because now it's your business is making money. And everything I'm saying, hey, Freedom of Information Act. You can look up my business. You can look up my tax records. It's going to show everything. It'll show everything. That's why I got all these funding companies always calling me, want to give me some money. Even my own bank, like every quarter, they contact me and want me to take out some money to help with my business. Well, hey, you know, you can expand your business. You can grow your business. You know, you can do all this and stuff. No, because they look at all my tax records. My bank look at all the money that's coming inside my bank account that's getting deposited all the time. So they know my business is making money. So, I mean, they know these things. I run my trucking business like a real business. And that's how you have to do it. And to run a real business, you have to do the book work and you have to do the budgets and all the analysis. You got to have purveyors from your business. So you got the research purveyors where you can take your stuff to for your business. That's what you have to do to get the best pricing. You got to have those relationships. Okay, this is where I'm going to take my truck when I'm back in town for oil change all the time. Oh, they also do brakes and everything like that. Okay, cool. I want to develop a relationship with them. Because when you develop a relationship with them, well, guess what? They get you in and they get you out. They make sure that they're taking care of you because you're a repeat customer and you're bringing them business all the time. You got to establish relationships. That's part of being a business. Run your trucking like a business. Even if you're a lease, if you got to take care of your own truck and everything like that, you're still supposed to be running your stuff as a business. That does not make no sense to me. I'm listening to this dude. He got the spreadsheet out. He got all this stuff out. And I'm just like, really? You got all this spreadsheet. You got all these numbers. You did over $2 a mile for 2 weeks in a row. You made $13,000, a little bit over $13,000 for 2 weeks of work. And when you came back home, you was negative 3,000 or something. Something wrong with that picture. Like I said, it's a you problem. How much is your overhead? Why did you start this business? Why did you get inside this business with a super high overhead? Maybe if you're going to have a high overhead, it's not time for you to get inside the business. Think about that. It may not be time for you to get inside a business if your overhead going to be too high. That does not make sense. You can't do that. You have to have some type of knowledge of the business if you get inside the business. Don't get in the business and then think that you're just going to learn it as you go. Because then you're going to wind up failing and blaming the trucking industry for all this kind of stuff. Right? People talk about all the predatory towing and all that other particular stuff. Listen, man, let me tell you something. I tried my best best to make sure I park somewhere that I don't have to worry about them putting a boot or something on my truck because where I didn't park it. You watch all these videos of these people that's parking all these places like Walmart and stuff like that, that's booting trucks. So why would I want to go park at a Walmart and take that chance? Because I see other trucks out there, so I'm just going to go ahead and park there too? Is that why? No. Well, I'm going to drive my truck inside of somewhere where I know that it looks like it's soft. I'm going to start to stay on the most hard surface as possible. Because if I get stuck, I got to call a tow truck to come out to pull me out because I didn't got stuck. That's like $1,000 right there. You got to make business decisions while you out here too. Why do it? Why would I want to get a speeding ticket? Why would I want to do any violation? Why? Why would I want to do it? You're making a business decision. That's going to hurt your pocket by doing that. That doesn't make any sense. Like I said, sometimes it's a you problem. Don't blame the trucking. It's a you problem. You can blame whatever group, illegal people out here doing this, taking cheap loads. It's always a problem, but it's been the same problem for how long? Ever since I've been in trucking, they've been saying about these people who be taking cheap freight. Legally, I've been driving for 9 years out here on this road. And for 9 years, I've been hearing the same thing. Truckers taking cheap freight, driving the cost down. For 9 years. When are we going to finally get up to the point to where we be like, you know what? Enough is enough of pointing fingers at other people. What can I do differently than what they are doing so I can make some money? How about that? When is enough enough? For 9 years, we've been complaining about the same thing in trucking. The same thing over and over. Perpetuating the cycle. Just keep doing it over and over again. Talking about the flip-flops. Talking about the people in the fuel line. Talking about how somebody dressed. Talking about how people taking cheap freight. We talk about the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So, if you know that this is happening, what's the solution? People love talking about the problem, but nobody loves talking about the solution. At all. My solution is I'm going to try to make money for my business the best way I can by being as educated as I can be on the situation. I'm not worried about people taking cheap freight. They got so much freight out here, let them take the cheap freight. Let them. That's them and their business. They're going to wind up closing. Look at all these big places that's closing down. All these trucking companies that's closing down. They're going to close down. All these trucking companies that done closed down, that done had all these semi trucks, took all these hundreds of thousands of trucks off the road. Think about it, within the last 3 years, you done had at least 200, 300 trucks off the road. Where all that freight then went? All those thousands of trucks off the road. Truckers done got fired. All this other kind of stuff. Where did that freight go? Where did that freight go? What happened to all that freight? So every time we say, hey, we get rid of this, or we get rid of these people, and we get rid of the people with the non-domicile CDLs, and we get rid of all the illegal people that's driving trucks, and we get rid of all these people with the language proficiency, and we get rid of these people, then there'll be more loads out here for us. Yeah. What happens when these truck companies close, they got thousands of trucks, and they close down, and the rates still be the same? What's the excuse for that? That's what I mean. We keep making excuses for everything or why this is like this. And if we do this, this is going to make trucking better again, and it's going to be more rates. And this, no, listen, people going to give you the kind of money that they want to give you. There's nothing we can do as drivers that's going to be able to change that. Why? Because there's no unity in trucking. There's no unity. Why is there no unity? Because we got people who's talking about everybody. That's why it's no unity. Everybody's talking about everybody. That's why there's no unity. You don't see airline pilots in the unit talking about other airline pilots. You don't see railroad people in those units talking about other railroad people. You don't see that. You don't see the port workers talking about other port workers. We wonder why they can get their deals done and we can never get nothing done in trucking. That's because we never unite. You got a lot of people who's against a lot of people. Everybody's against everybody. There's no unity in trucking. Somebody want to do a trucker strike, they're not getting no involvement. Why they're not getting no involvement? No, y'all did all this talking about us and everything like this. Now y'all want us to go up there and strike for y'all and not make money and do all this for now. But you've been talking about us for the last year and a half. No, I'm not going to do it. That's just what happens. There's no unity in trucking. We can't get nothing done. We just can't get nothing done. We've been talking about how truckers be throwing their piss bottles all outside their truck. It's all over the truck stops, parking area, piss bottles all over the place. Doodle bags all over the place. You go to the rest area, you run it over with somebody's doodle bag. They couldn't even throw it inside the trash can that's right in front of their truck and everything like that. They throwing it right there, leaving their trash right there. They trashing up the place. You go inside the bathroom, they pissed all over the place, toilet paper all over the place, doodle all over the place. They can't, that big old hole, they missed the big old hole. Tearing up the bathrooms and everything. And these truckers just doing it. And then we want to complain about truck parking. We ruin truck parking in a whole bunch of places because we keep throwing the piss bottles and doodle bags and trash and leaving it in the middle of the parking lot. Then you wonder why they don't want you parking there no more. You wonder why. You wonder why some of these weigh stations be closed. They got all that parking right there, but we can't even go inside of it and park because ain't nobody there. Why? Because they're going to have nobody clean up their parking lot, and they know you're going to be throwing trash, piss bottles, doodle bags all up inside there, and they don't have nobody working at those places to be able to take care of the place when you're going to be destroying the place. So they rather close it off to the truck drivers because the truck drivers going to mess up the place. There's no unity inside of trucking. Everybody want to blame everybody for everything. Nobody want to look at self at all. Nobody want to look at self. I'm going to talk about all these rules and all these violations and all this stuff that don't make no sense. Especially with the flip-flop stuff. I'm so tired of that. They've been talking about that even before I got a truck. Before I got a trucking, I was looking for a whole year. And all on YouTube, looking a whole year, right? On YouTube. And that was it. 9.5 years ago, 10 years ago. They was talking about flip-flops, wearing sandals. What that got to do with you making money? That been my whole thing about it. What do somebody wearing sandals have to do with you making money? Oh, he just wore sandals to the shipper. There you go. They finna cancel my load now. I ain't gonna be able to do this load. Do they do that? No. So what do that has to do with you making money? How is this person, what this person is wearing? I saw a dude in high heel stilettos with a jean skirt on getting out the truck. His truck. With a red hat on. What the hell walking around in high heel shoes got to do with me making money? Not a thing. I'm still gonna make my money regardless of what this person they make or what this person is wearing. So why do I care? Don't say it comes to image of trucking, because if it was the image of trucking, the same thing that y'all going crazy about, a lot of people are crazy about flip-flops, y'all would do that by the truckers leaving their piss bottles, throwing their piss bottles everywhere, and they trash everywhere. So if it's about the image of trucking, why we don't have that same energy for the truckers who throwing piss bottles out? You go and pull it up to a fuel aisle, and what you see, gallons of piss sitting right there by the fuel pump for somebody else to grab. You done piss gallons of piss, got 2 gallons of piss sitting out there. Now you want the love employee, pilot employee to pick up your piss that you just sitting out there. That's what you want. But you worrying about somebody else wearing flip-flops when you got other truckers doing stupid stuff like that. That does not make no sense to me. It's like we worried about the wrong thing. So worried about what this person is doing. What about the truckers who's making a real bad image, tearing up these parking lots with all their stuff? That just irks me. I ran over a poop bag at the rest area earlier today. That don't make no sense. I'm walking to the rest area. I looked under my trailer because I always look at my tires. I get out my driver's side and I just do a loop around and check all my tires and everything. Make sure all my tires and stuff, all my tread and everything is good and stuff like that. That's how I found the tire on my trailer, just doing the loop around, right? So I always do a loop around every time I stop. Even when I'm fueling, I do a loop around, check my tires, the whole 9 yards, right? I do all that kind of stuff. But I'm doing this and stuff, and I'm looking at the poop bag that I didn't ran over. Somebody took a poop in the bag and just threw it right there in the parking lot. And it's a trash can right in front of the truck. Can they throw it in the trash can? I just don't understand that. What we worry about flip-flops? That's what we worry about. Like, really? I can see when we was worried about the lot lizards. I used to love the lot lizard story because that's very dangerous. You had some of these women that was killing the truckers and robbing truckers. They're using the women to do so. So with that, I used to love those type of stories, but we just stopped all that. Let's start talking about flip-flops now. It's like, come on, man. Some of this stuff it just doesn't make no sense. Sometimes you gotta look at yourself. What are you doing to make things better? Or you just want to jump on the gravy train and you just ready to, just let things be, and then you want to talk about the flip-flops, and the flip-flops is causing the rates to go down, and these and other people causing the rates to go down, and that's why you can't make no money. Yeah, you can't make no money, but somebody else out there's making money. So how can they make money and you can't make money? What are they doing that is different than what you were doing to make money? I'm primarily using 2 brokers. I didn't use 3. Actually, I used all 4 of them signed up with. But I'm primarily just using CS Robinson and TQL and making my money. You got people out here that got signed up with more brokers than I'm signing up, and they got a problem booking loads and making money with that. How is that possible? I don't understand. How is that possible? I'm not doing nothing different. I know how much the lane should be paying. And when I'm talking with the rep, I don't do that click and book and book now stuff. No, I talk to an actual rep for every single load that I book. Talk to a rep for every single load that I book. I gotta talk to him. Because I gotta let them know, man, this lane is paying this. The last 15 days, this lane been paying this. I understand you want to pay this, but my service record with y'all is impeccable. I do a great job hollering from y'all. I've been hollering with you for over 4 years, man. You're gonna have to come up with this. So he gave me a call back. He come up, he called me back, he came up to what I wanted. But sometimes he'll come up with $10, $20 to $30 of what I wanted. And I go ahead and take it and things like that. So like I said, sometimes it may be a you problem. It may not be a trucking problem. It may be a you problem. Start off with you before you start pointing fingers at somebody else. Because I'm sorry, none of these non-English people, illegal people with CDLs, people wearing flip-flops, none of them have affected my money since I've been out here, since I've been booking numbers for myself. At all. Do I think that they should be inside of trucking? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't think there should be non-domiciled CDLs. I don't think there should be any illegal people in trucking. I think that they should run their Social Security and their ID to make sure that they are legal U.S. citizens before they are able to attain a CDL. I don't think you should. If you can't speak English, then you should be driving the truck. I didn't help non-speaking people so many times out here on the road. So many times I didn't help them. I helped too with their logs and get their logs and everything right, because they didn't even know how to do their logs. So I had to go inside their truck on their tablet. One was a tablet, one was he had it on his cell phone, and had to fix their logs and everything for them, because they ain't know how to read none of the English stuff on their logs. I didn't help them at shippers. I didn't help them at receivers. Then they came to me with their cell phone where they didn't translate what they want on their cell phones. Now I got to read a book because they trying to explain to me what's going on. I got to read a book in English now just to help them. Then they tell me hold on. Then they want me to type the response in the phone so then they can translate it to Spanish and stuff, so then they can read it. One dude was from what is it? Over there around Russia and Germany, Ukraine, Lithuanian. I think it was Lithuanian, somewhere around there. What's the same thing? I'm typing stuff in his phone to try to help him out because he couldn't speak no English. The lady one was checking in with the dude. The dude got to give her the phone. She got to speak in the phone, and they got to translate in English for the guy so he can understand what she's saying, so he know what door to go to and everything. So I'm like, if you hold up the process, it's like, dude, you should know this and stuff. You don't have to have that type of English where you can hold a conversation for 30 minutes in English, but you got to know enough to know what you're doing. Know where you picking up, where you going, what's the commodity, how much weight it is. Understand the numbers. You have to at least know that stuff. You got to know how to read the road signs. That's dangerous. You got the sign that says truck in left lane only, but they can't even read where it says truck in left lane only going through this construction stuff. They're saying truck in the left lane only because the left lane is wide enough for truck and the right lane isn't. So they're trying to pass me on the right hand side, but that lane ain't big enough for the truck. That's why it says truck left lane only. And they speeding through the construction zone at that. That's why they want to pass me. Then the dude running all off the road, he almost hit the concrete blocker on there. Then he comes inside my lane and then looking at me like, no, I'm in my lane. I got a concrete blocker on my side too. I'm not finna move over because your behind want to run inside the right lane when it says trucks use left lane only. So he had to wind up slowing down because he was going to run off the road and run into the barrier and then get behind me. I'm like, you can't read the signs and keep saying trucks use left lane only, trucks use left lane only. I'm like, dude, it's for a reason. So yeah, I don't think they should be. No, I don't. But I don't think we should be blaming them for everything inside of trucking. Like it's their fault. It's why there's no freight, or it's their fault why the freight level is low. Rates per mile is low and everything. No, rates per mile always been low. Where y'all going? And it's not really been that low. If you look at the rates how it was before COVID and what they was running before COVID, years before COVID and everything like that, the rates are the rates. It is what it is. The rates are the rates. Man, this is the longest I ever didn't have a video before. Man, if y'all made it this long, thank y'all for listening to me rant and listening to me talk and everything. I appreciate y'all. This preacher, I'm hollering at.